This is Vitor Roque. 3 months ago, Barcelona made his signing official for around 45 million euros. Since then, he has only started one match for the squad and has played a total of 250 minutes, scoring 2 goals and creating a bit of chaos each time he comes in, but you don't pay 45 million euros for chaos when you're as broke as Barcelona is. So what the hell is going on here? Well, a lot of it has to do with the timing of his signing. Going into January, Barcelona were in desperate need of a good finisher. Lewandowski was out of form and the squad was really struggling despite creating the most chances in all of Europe. Ferran Torres was doing okay, but then he went off injured and the squad was again left searching for goals. Now, if Roque had joined the squad then, it could have been an entirely different story. Xavi and the team would have been much more desperate for goals, and so Roque probably would have gotten more game time, and then maybe he would have warmed up quicker. But it just so happens the moment Roque came in, Lewandowski finally began picking up his form for the first time basically since the World Cup. It's also convenient that he happened to pick up his form the moment I made a video criticizing him, but in all honesty, Lewandowski is doing very well right now. And that's a problem for Roque. Not only is the Polish striker finishing well now, but he's actually linking up okay with his teammates. He isn't fantastic on the ball by any means, but he is definitely drawing more fouls now, and he's keeping the ball better for sure. That's great for Barcelona, but the fact is that's just not good for Vitor Roque, and I think a lot of fans are reacting to that very poorly. A lot of them expected him to jump into the squad and save the team and immediately have an impact, because at the time when he joined the team seemed to need it. But now they don't, and Roque is left on the bench. It also doesn't help that right before Tigrinho came, Marc Guiu started coming into his own as well. Guiu is grabbing some of the minutes that would have gone to Roque, but he does deserve it. I think Guiu has been a little bit better than Roque so far, but he is much more accustomed to how the team plays, having spent more time in training with the squad than Roque has, so of course he is. To be fair, Guiu has also gotten the better opportunities than Roque has, in my opinion. Guiu is coming in pretty much only replacing Lewandowski, while Roque is left floundering in that left-wing pseudo-striker position that might not necessarily suit him the best. Actually, a lot of people right now are quick to criticize Xavi for playing him as that left-winger. But honestly, I don't really think it's that much different than Barca's striker in his setup. The left winger, when it's an actual attacker, in Xavi's setup plays very centrally and rotates a lot with Lewandowski, and so Roque is occupying a similar position than he would if he were playing striker, even though his responsibilities are slightly different. So I'm really not that upset at Xavi for what he's doing with Roque. But let's take a little bit of a closer look to what Roque is actually doing in the minutes he has on the pitch. Roque is a very energetic striker profile, somewhat similar to, I guess you could say, young Luis Suarez in many ways. However, he's not linking up well at all. When he gets on the ball, he seems relatively vulnerable to pressure, and that tends to break up our attack in ways similar to the criticisms of Lewandowski earlier this season. But Roque has proven to be pretty elite at making things happen and creating chaos, as I've said 100 times, with his run. He may not always be the beneficiary of that chaos, like we saw at the end of the match against Atletico, but good things often come from what he creates and the runs that he makes on the pitch. However, Roque has what I like to call the Rafinha syndrome. That is, when he gets on the ball, he looks threatening and moves with pace into dangerous spots, but tends to make the wrong decision or fails to beat players one-on-one and then loses the ball. The difference is that Roque is 8 years younger than Rafinha and he's playing in a different league, so I have confidence in him that he can change that eventually in a way that Rafinha might not. However, he's facing a bit of an unforeseen problem when he was probably originally planning on coming to Barcelona. The fact that there are 6 players on Barcelona's books right now that play the exact same position as he does. Now, Ansu is out on loan, but that still leaves the team with Robert Lewandowski, Vitor Roque, Marc Guiu, Joao Felix, and Ferran Torres. In my opinion, none of them are the perfect striker for Barcelona right now, but that's just too many men to have that play a similar position. Felix and Torres have been playing the slightly inverted left winger role, but that's where Roque has been getting his minutes this season. So when Ferran Torres comes back, what's going to happen for Roque? I expect Ferran Torres to take over Joao Felix's starting spot because he hasn't been wonderful in every match, though he did play well against Atleti. But so where's Roque going to be getting those minutes? Because Felix is going to be subbed in for Ferran now, no? It's going to be just harder for him to get even more minutes. And at striker, it's not a much easier story. Lewandowski never got benched even when he was in poor form. So now that he's actually playing well and the side is only playing in 2 competitions, I don't see a lot of time opening up there this season. This has, maybe rightly so, brought up a lot of questions about where this leaves Roque this season. And that's led a lot of people to questioning if he should even be at Barcelona or if he should leave this summer. He came with a lot of expectations and he is clearly not living up to them yet. There's also been rumors about Barca trying to pick up Haaland in the next few years, and with Laporta so concerned about the image and reputation of the side, I wouldn't be surprised if he leverages all of Catalonia and somehow figures it out. But with all of that, where does this leave Roque? People, Barcelona fans specifically, tend to be very dramatic and reactionary. I'm the same way. Look at my YouTube channel. But I understand it when it comes to Roque because Barcelona spent 45 million euros on it. Barcelona does not have money to waste on a player, especially not an investment like that when you don't even let him play. So Laporta's going to put his foot down at some point and make sure the kid gets playing time. It's just a question of when that actually happens. The side doesn't desperately need him right now, so of course he isn't going to be the #1 choice for Xavi, especially when Lewa is in such great form. I'm certain he has a future at Barcelona, and it might be crazy, but I think all of this confusion and disappointment, I guess you could say, is actually good for him. It is not good for young players to have to deal with having a ton of pressure on their shoulders. As I said, Lamine Yamal doesn't have that luxury, but Roque, with the squad performing the way it is and the amount of players in that role, well, he doesn't have to deal with that. Just remember how long it took Vini and Rodrigo to warm up at Real Madrid. Benzema didn't even want to play with Vini because he was playing so poorly. He just wasn't meeting the standards of the team because he was still young and it was an early transition for him. Roque, by being given time to not be needed, he has that time to develop before he has to deal with things like that. Now, this might push his development a little bit further down the line, but for a kid to not get his starting spot in a top-tier team until he's 20, even that's still early. The kid's only 19 now, and he's got time to develop. Let the kid develop. Knowing all of that, here are my predictions about what's going to happen that is going to affect Roque this year. I think Barcelona is going to sell Ansu Fati this summer, and I think the squad is going to either sell Lewandowski or loan out Marc Guiu. Only one of those two will probably be the case because I don't think Barcelona will be able to afford another forward. I think Ferran Torres could also be on the chopping block because I think he's earned a little bit of value this year, but Barcelona still has a little bit of money to pay to City, so it's not like a big transfer fee, or any transfer fee would be very profitable for them. So I'm not as bullish on that happening as I am Lewandowski or Guiu going out, and almost certainly Ansu leaving. My opinions aside, I'm almost certain he's leaving, so that will open up a spot for Roque. Prediction 2. Roque is not going to play much football at all this year. Unless something catastrophic happens with Lewandowski, I just don't see it happening. Lewandowski's gotten more form right now, but even when he wasn't playing well, he was starting all the matches. And we saw Xavi get a little bit better at actually subbing him off and giving Guiu some time, but I don't think it's going to happen. Lewandowski's pretty healthy most of the time, knock on wood. So I don't expect Roque to be getting very many minutes this season, and that's okay. As I said before, let him develop. Let him figure out how to play with Barcelona. Prediction 3. I think we are going to see a much different Roque next season. Yes, that's a quick turnaround for some player to put it all together, but I think that will be enough time for Roque to figure it all out with the squad. As I've said before, he is an agent of chaos. He creates a ton of mess and excitement, which is, first of all, great for the team late in matches, which is why he's a pretty good super sub option, but I think it will take a little bit of time for that chaos to build some chemistry with the side. Roque is still young and he still has time, and he will feature for FC Barcelona. Just not right now, and that's okay. It's perfectly normal. Also, for everyone annoyed at me, I know it's pronounced Hokke. It's just so distracting because no one in the English-speaking world pronounces it that way that I think it actually distracts people from the video, so I don't say it like that. But you've heard my prediction about what's going to happen with the guy. What do you think is going to happen? Let me know down below. And now jump on over to this video about the hunt for the next face of FC Barcelona. It was decades long, and you learn a lot about FC Barcelona in the process, and a little bit about Lamine Yamal. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.